Coming up next are animals thriving in Chernobyl, then are there really pyramids in Antarctica? And then to top it all off, did the CIA have something to do with HIV and AIDS? See it all next on Talk is Cheap. Talk is Cheap, with Cheap is Talk, and Talk is Cheap. I'm Jena De Witt, and to my left,
Dan Hohlfeld.
And to my right,
Dusty Long.
Alright, today my article is about the CIA and AIDS. How the CIA had parts in creating HIV and AIDS.
See, I looked into this shit a little bit. I don't know if you ever have.
Just wee bit, if
This
anything.
is like, of course, if you want to do population control, this is
the way to do it.
Best way to do it,
Yep.
yeah. Well, so this pretty much talks about how the CIA created AIDS. It had help from, Nixon. Help from Nixon in order to create it. They started it in about 1980. That's when HIV and AIDS actually started coming into the U.S. and actually had signs of it. They say that they actually created it to get rid of the homosexuals and then the African Americans.
That's not very racist or anything.
No.
which is
not
kind of
one
weird
bit.
because if you don't if you want to do population control, you go after the heterosexuals because the homosexuals ain't gonna reproduce.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So why would you attack the homosexuals?
Yeah.
Unless Nixon didn't like him, he's just like, yeah, fuck him.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
Maybe it was Nixon. He was a nut.
Yeah.
I love the guy.
so they basically injected gay men with the virus, basically test subjects.
Mm-hmm.
So they injected them with hepatitis B.
It was the hepatitis B vaccine they put it in, correct?
Yep, hepatitis B vaccine.
Another vaccination going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't get my flu shot.
Oh, I don't get any of that.
Well,
Yeah.
that started in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. So, 3 pretty big areas.
A lot of population there.
Yeah, extremely well populated. And Nixon actually was trying to use it for like a bio-warfare
Oh.
ordeal. So,
My question is, if they were only targeting gay men, was it on the sheet? Are you gay?
well, they started in prisons actually. They tested it on prison subjects.
Well, the only sex you're having in prison is gay.
That's true.
Yeah.
What? It's damn true.
So,
This is true.
There ain't women running around in an all-male prison.
Oh man.
So in all honesty,
So where
they
did they
kind of were
receive
like,
their injection?
all male prison. They're more than likely all gay because of the fact that they don't have females to have sex with, so they find other ways.
It's true.
Which is interesting.
So-
That's how.
This is true.
This is true.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with this, with the CIA and AIDS, and like I said, I've done a little research, is I just don't fathom the reason behind it. If you're going to try to kill out a bunch of people for population control, like you said, you probably wouldn't go after gays. But on top of that, AIDS doesn't just kill. Now, if you're going to do population control, you do Ebola. The Ebola outbreak's the best thing in the world. It kills quickly. There's no known vaccination for it. It spreads quickly.
But
that's the only bad thing about it, too, is you can't really wrangle it in.
But they tried that and it failed. Did it die out? What happened to the last
No,
one?
Ebola is constantly changing. It's a different Ebola, so it
It's
flares up
different.
and they can
But I haven't
contain
heard
it.
anything about it
Brand.
lately. Is it done? Or what's going on?
Well, it's never done. It's always in Africa. There's
It was over
Yeah.
here though.
yeah, it traveled over here. It was really nice.
So that just died out?
Yeah, we got the people, we got them in hospitals. A few of them died, and the rest we magically saved.
I find
Yeah.
that hard.
Well, I mean, there's like a
Magically.
5% chance of or survivability on. I think about Ebola. I think it's 5 or some very low number
It's
like
an
that.
extremely small number. Yeah.
So maybe they started with AIDS, thinking it would do something like that, and didn't. I mean, I could see why you would test it on them then, I guess, but I don't know.
Well, my question is, if they wanted to like kill the population of like how many people are in jail, like the bad guys,
Mm.
that'd be
I suppose.
Yeah,
if you
that'd be a
wanna
good way to do it. Is
reduce your prison population.
yeah.
They wouldn't do that now though
started-
because prisons are money making. They're corporations. So I mean, you wouldn't do it now. Interesting, because this isn't the first time I've read something about the vaccinations having stuff in it. For one, I'm sure we've all heard about vaccinations having
Syphilis and-
syphilis, all sorts of shit in it. And on even the non-conspiracy side, with the more and more vaccinations, doesn't make sense to me when it comes to like flu, which is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Well, they're telling you now if you go to the hospital and you say I have a sore throat, they won't give you penicillin because they're afraid that we've used so much of it that our body become
Immune,
and
to it.
then the viruses they change, so they have this super bug, as you'll hear in the news and shit. It's a fear thing, but
Yeah.
could be true. So you have a super bug that penicillin doesn't work on. So they're trying to limit the amount of penicillin so the viruses don't get used to it. And so I can see the vaccination thing because if you can buy into some of these things. And I can see that the CIA, FBI, and all those places, NSA and all that, I can see them trying to develop some kind of a bioweapon that they could plant in, I don't know, say Syria or someplace we don't like or someone doesn't like. I mean, I'm an American and I love them all. It's our government, not us, folks. But anyway, so say you go to Syria, you plant it with somebody, say you are Red Cross, you give them a shot, vaccination, all of a sudden they get really, really ill, and maybe it stays dormant for a year or something. And then you can wipe out most of that civilization, correct? So you don't have to fight anybody. So I can see them doing it, but I just don't understand why they would do it in Africa where it's at. Is kind of a...
Yeah, there ain't like a threat or anything.
Yeah, and I can't see them attacking gay people. I don't really understand that much either, but I could see them doing it.
But they're pushing the whole gay thing now.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Gays have just as much rights as we do. I don't care who you're sleeping with at night, as long as it doesn't.
Right.
As long as it's not
But
illegal. Because
that's where they win because they won't reproduce, and then they're gonna probably not put up a great fight really either.
Well, and that's an interesting thing too, because you have a right if they're testing it, but they didn't really know what it did, and they weren't sure it was going to kill them. Maybe you would test it on gays because they're not reproducing. Because you don't want to kill out all the reproducers because then you don't have a job force. So maybe there was a big test subject, like you said.
Yeah.
All right, on a previous episode, we were talking about Chernobyl.
we
I
did.
think it was actually episode 2, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, we did talk about
Yeah.
Chernobyl. That's right. Yeah, one of the first shows. Don't watch the first shows. They look like crap.
No, I still recommend episode 1 just because that's the alien top or the
Oh yeah.
top tier. That was what woke me up.
When I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species.
Holy shit.
57 different species. But this kind of like reiterates my point that I was saying. I think animals are going to adapt to the radiation levels there.
Oh, okay.
And they've already started seeing this, according to this article. They've been tracking animals, and their populations have been going up in that area. And I'm sure that's partly with humans not being there anymore. So of course they're going to have a little increase in the population, a sanctuary for animals there. But the wolf population has been increasing. That's the predatory.
Yeah.
And they say when the predatory goes up, then it's like thriving there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So exclusion zone is like 20 miles.
Okay.
And they say it's unsafe for habitation for humans for 20,000 years. Think about that.
That's a long, long time.
And then here's these animals thriving in it.
Because animals don't care about radiation.
And they adapted.
That's where I think, like I said, it reiterates my point. They're going to gradually adapt to what they need to do to survive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They did test some of these other animals before, like horses and cows died from thyroid complications due to the radiation, and others were stunted.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're starting to see that taper off now.
Really?
Well, if you think about it, when like an animal has a kid, the kid is instantly starts to get adapted to the surroundings. It doesn't. It has that immune system to where it's gonna
Oh,
be
from the
able.
parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be able to withstand it more.
No, it's interesting because if you look into like breastfeeding, they say that the mother's immune system, when they breastfeed, the child gets all the immunities or whatnot too. So I suppose it'd be the same thing with animals as it is for us.
Yep.
Isn't that's probably half the reason they're pushing women not to breastfeed anymore is because they want to make everybody weak?
I mean, maybe.
They're always telling them to put them on the bottle, aren't they?
I don't know. I always thought that.
Well, it depends if the woman can actually breastfeed or not. Because some women can't. They can't produce enough milk to actually...
I thought maybe they just didn't have nipples. I thought it'd be a little weird.
No, they can't produce enough milk to actually feed the kid.
Child.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, even if you did, even if you breastfed for a little bit and then, went to
Switched to
formula,
formula.
well, a little bit here and there,
Yeah.
I suppose it wouldn't be bad. But I've done some research and on the importance of breastfeeding and that mother's milk and how it helps and everything else, and which is another funny, interesting thing that there is still a huge problem with people breastfeeding in public. There you see it all over the damn place, and it's so nuts. I don't get it. It's like, oh my God, she whipped out her boobie and a baby sucking on it. I'm so offended. That same person probably watches some weird ass porn or something, but I don't get it. It's natural. Allow it to happen. I mean, it's not like, most people, if you see them out in like Walmart or something or out in the park, they have a blanket over or something else.
It's covered.
It's not like, here I am. Here's my boobie.
Drop you like a hurricane.
So yeah, no.
All right, just to finish up here, they said they put these cameras out, 84 locations. They've captured elk, lynx, wolves, hares.
That's a rabbit.
It's a big ass rabbit.
Okay, hares, otters, pine
martens.
I never heard of that. What the hell is that?
It's like a fucking
It's a marten.
weasel. Yeah, a big weasel.
Horses. Yeah, they say weasels.
And then weasels. God damn it, pine martens are bigger than weasels.
A confirmed sighting of a brown bear in Ukraine. So they didn't have too many brown bears.
And you're actually right now. With the lower amount of human being in there, they're going to thrive a little bit more. But even then, you would consider that, like you said, if the radiation is impacting them where they're dying off, then you wouldn't have that thriving, even without the humans being there. And
right.
I suppose, I think I read through there. There's a lot less birth defects or hardly any. Because I was expecting that one, not that picture. Go up a little bit more. That picture with the two deer. At first, I was really hoping that was like one full deer with two heads.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing too. You don't really see anything like that. I think the most you see is like the fish.
Okay.
Will get
Fish
affected
and
that
frogs.
way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I suppose anything.
Those that are in the water.
Yeah.
They have the most radiation.
And don't they breathe through their skin too, like frogs do? So then they would pick it up, and then you'd have that deformity. And we haven't heard lately about in America, all those frogs are like 6 legs and shit. Have you? No. Remember that? It was really big back in the day. Frogs with 2 heads or 4 legs. Yeah, here in the States. Water pollution. Yeah, it was a big thing for a while. You know how the news is. You get these big articles and they just show them away after they've ran their gamut. But yeah, they blamed it on. They blamed it on people flushing their birth control down the toilet. Yeah, don't flush your pills, folks.
So if it's doing that to them, what is it doing to you? You might have 2 dicks, hopefully.
Unless they're taking a lot more birth control.
But yeah, just to finish up there, I think
excellent.
nature's going to find a way to adapt to everything, and it's just going to keep striving on, just like it does.
I don't disagree with you. I really don't. I mean, I think if there was a chasm, anyway, I think there was a mass extinction of humans, or something happened, earthquake, volcanoes, the earth heats up, cools down, whatever. Animals adapt quicker than we do. And they're going to adapt, and they'll still be here, and we'll be dead and gone and everything else. Then, in 10,000 years, there'll be another race of fucking humanoids, and they'll be like, what is this weird spoon I found, or some shit.
Right.
And then there'll be a show just like this, but with different humanoids, trying to tell you all that we don't know everything, and then there'll still be sheep out there, so, because there's still sheep. So, not yesterday, was it last week I said something about pyramids last week, and look what I found. I found pyramids in Antarctica.
They look like mountains.
Well, of course they're fucking pyramids. So I'd read this a while back. This is a newer article that I started reading a little bit more research because it's newer. And there are structures. Now, these pictures all come from a, what is this? Some kind of a integrated ocean drilling program. So they take pictures. I love this one because that's all flat right there. And then you got your, it looks a lot like a pyramid.
Yeah, it makes it pretty obvious.
So there might be pyramids in Antarctica. There might be pyramids in Europe. There's a pyramid in China. There's one in India. These places look like mountains, and they swear there's pyramids underneath them. So how far-fetched is it to think there's pyramids in Antarctica? A lot of people have a problem with this because Antarctica has a huge amount of ice, and it's cold. However...
That previous episode, like we were talking about with Pete, when there was no...
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm going into, too. Yeah, I wish Pete was here now. Oh, Pete. Anyway, so... we have, there's all this sea ice and all this ice and whatnot, but they were just drilling not too long ago, and what year was it? In 2009, scientists doing research and collecting samples came across pollen particles in Antarctica, suggesting that there was an ecosystem in Antarctica that was different than it is now. They said that summer temperatures could reach around 20 degrees Celsius, which I have no idea is in Fahrenheit. I did not pass that on my science tests. And in 2012, another team of researchers identified 32 species of bacteria and a 2,800-year-old microbe in water samples in East Antarctica. The permanent surface ice on this lake is the thickest non-glacial ice on Earth. And so here's a picture of what Antarctica would look like without the ice on top of it.
Holy shit.
Yep. And
wait, how thick were they saying that was?
They didn't say yet. Wait, let's go down here. Well, it's pretty damn thick.
It's gotta be.
Because I mean, that's pretty much a lot of ice.
That's gonna be like a mile.
All right, so to prove my point, because this is why I like this article, the question to ask here is the following: is it possible that Antarctica was once warm enough in the past to make it possible for an ancient civilization to live there? So how can we prove that there's pyramids? Was it ever good enough? I mean, because they're not going to be building these things in the frigid, with penguins. Maybe the penguins built them. Never thought of that. Watched Happy Feet and dance. So anyway, they're saying this. I like this too. If we go back to Africa, okay, kind of crazy. We know that scholars and Egyptologists have long suspected that the Sphinx is much older than the believed, possibly even over 10,000 years old. These theories are supported by the discovery of water erosion on the gigantic Sphinx, which according to scholars tells a story of extreme climate change in the distant past. So the climate in Africa and other parts of the world changed drastically, is a question. Is positive the same thing happened in Antarctica then, if that is to be true? Because there's no rain in Egypt, really, and there wouldn't be that much rain, erosion. So they talk about Egypt being lush and rainforesty and those types of things, which, okay, we can probably all agree it probably could happen.
Yeah.
So that would mean that maybe Antarctica was nice and warm, so then they had pyramid-built structures there too. They're not talking too much about going back and finding anything. They have been talking about trying to mount some expeditions to there, but nothing right now. So, I'm really thrilled. Some of these pictures are pretty, I mean, that's, I don't know, it's pretty right angles. It really does look like right angles. And it could be photography.
This kind of gets me thinking, did you ever hear about the Hitler having UFOs under Antarctica?
Yes, I was going to cover that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Later on, or?
It depends. Yeah, if you want to cover it, because I've been doing a lot of research on it lately. So we can both cover it. There's a lot there.
I was just thinking, that kind of ties it in, because it's like if you got the UFOs and then you got who the hell knows what's going on in Antarctica.
Well, they also have pictures of UFOs in Antarctic ice, and one of them hasn't been debunked. I couldn't find a picture. Yeah,
I didn't see that stuff.
I'm gonna do a couple more on Antarctica because I really am starting to buy into it quite a bit. So, yeah, more to come, folks. More to come.
Awesome.
Alright, well that's it for that episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And also visit the K2D4 network. Okay, how do I do it?
Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk.
Talk and talk
is
is cheap. God damn it.
She's already pissed.
Hi, welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. I'm Jena De Witt. And that's how
Dan Hohlfeld.
Hi, welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. To my left.
Dan Hohlfeld.
And I'm Dusty Long.
Oh, and I'm Jena De Witt.
Third time's the charm?
I thought that was great.
No.
I got the left right.
I got the left right. If you're going to do it to my left, when he's done, you should probably say, and to my right.
Stay in that left-right paradigm.
Left, right. God. That's all, folks.
What are you, the Looney Tunes?
I was hoping for that.
Blia,
section.
blia, blia, blia. That's all, folks.
Oh, I'm starting?
Yeah, you started too.
Shit.
Is there anything more I have to do?
Coming up next, animals returning. Oh, fuck. Pyramids of Antarctica. Oh my god. Coming up next, animals return to Chernobyl. Thriving. Oh, fuck. Surviving.
That'll be alright.
What do you mean, sure? I thought that was great.
The first time.
This is more.